Welcome back to the continuation of the top 50 gaming soundtracks ever. We had quite a few racing games in the previous part of this list, but in this part, we do not. So let us continue our list with number 30. Earthbound is one of the rare JRPG games that I actually enjoy and find to be a fun experience. It's one of the few and one of the first RPGs to have a modern setting, and its soundtrack fits it perfectly. With melodies inspired directly from John Lennon and the Beatles, as well as various pop culture references, the Earthbound soundtrack is as interesting as it is fun to listen to. Groovy! Earthworm Jim 2 is one of the greatest video games ever created. You'd be remiss for thinking that Earthworm Jim was just yet another in the long line of 90s mascots with Toad, but that is not so. Earthworm Jim was a fantastic franchise, and even the cartoon was pretty fun. The soundtrack to Earthworm Jim 2 is as crazy and as brilliant as the game itself. Please listen to it. Woohoo! What can I say about Mario 64 that hasn't already been said by everybody else? We all know what kind of game this is and how good it is, but its soundtrack is one that's just as playful and really great fun. It's placed so high on this list because of how well it goes with its fantastic gameplay. The Mega CD release of the Terminator combines fun, side-scrolling run-and-gun action and a stellar metal soundtrack by Tommy Tallarico. The music in this game really kills it, and it is some of the best work from Tommy Tallarico. Portal 2's soundtrack is an integral part of the experience. Just like all other Valve games, Portal 2's soundtrack is carefully and lovingly crafted to complement and work alongside the gaming experience. And even listening to the electronic soundtrack outside of a game is extremely, and I mean extremely, enjoyable. What happens when you give Konami's former composer, Michiru Yamane, butchering names over here, 700 megabytes of CD quality audio? The brilliant Castlevania Symphony of the Night soundtrack is what you get.
Listen, all this takes a lot of getting used to. And you do get
Bastion would be nothing without its soundtrack. It would just be a throwaway game. The entire story of the game is beautifully told throughout its soundtrack, with the stunning narration from Logan Cunningham, accompanied by one hell of a soundtrack itself. The experience of Bastion is truly great.
And 3, I miss the songs. Folks from Ceylon.
Looks like I lied when I said there wasn't going to be any racing games in this part of the list, because at number 23, it's Burnout 2 Point of Impact. Expanding on the original, Burnout 2 Point of Impact offers one of the most rocking soundtracks in all of the racing genre. Latter games in the Burnout franchise still included tracks from Burnout 2. Even the latest game in the series, Burnout Paradise, included some of the best music from this very soundtrack. The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. A Link to the Past has an absolutely stunning soundtrack, a game which takes place in a sprawling fantasy world of Hyrule. Its soundtrack is most definitely one that invokes the atmosphere of its world on both the lighter side of the world and the darker, eerier side of Hyrule. Afterburner 2. Any version of the Afterburner 2 soundtrack is included here, as they are all very similar with only a few instrument changes. Even the arranged versions of the Afterburner 2 soundtrack are white knuckle rides, and if ever a soundtrack got you into the perfect mood to play a game, it's this one. And that's it. That's it for number 30 to 21. Again, just remember, this is my own opinion on the greatest soundtracks of all time. I love these soundtracks. Things are going to get a little crazy on number 20 to 11, and even crazier on number 10 to 1. So remember to stay tuned for that. And as always, if you like this video, give it a like. If you didn't, give it a dislike. If you do dislike it, tell me what I can improve. If you want to subscribe, go ahead. The button's right there on the screen now. And of course, you can always subscribe to my Patreon. I've got a few things on there. I'm going to revamp it and give people a lot more interesting things. I've got some old school wallpapers on offer. But yeah, I mean, if you like it, give it a like. If you don't, give it a dislike. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.